You've been wearing the same hairstyle for years, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you know it's not doing you any favors anymore. You just haven't been ready to say it out loud. Hair has a way of anchoring us to a time. The cut that turned heads at 50 can quietly work against you at 65, and nobody in your life is going to be the one to tell you that. Not your hairdresser, not your daughter, not your closest friend. That's what I'm here for. We're covering 5 specific hairstyles today that are adding years to your face, and more importantly, exactly what to ask for instead. Not vague suggestions. Real, stylist-ready language you can walk in with tomorrow. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results fast. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. I cover this every week and you don't want to miss what's coming. Part 1. The stiff over-teased crown. Here's something your hairdresser has probably never told you directly. The higher and stiffer the crown of your hair, the more attention you draw to the exact features you're trying to soften. The forehead, the temples, the lines around your eyes. Volume at the crown reads younger on a 30-year-old. On us, it reads dated. And there's a reason for that, rooted in how the eye travels across a face. When the crown is over-teased and locked in place with heavy spray, the shape sits disconnected from your natural bone structure. Your face doesn't expand upward the way it did at 40, so that tower of volume above your forehead creates contrast, and not the good kind. It draws the eye up and away from your best features rather than toward them. You probably started doing this because volume at the roots felt like the answer to thinning hair. And honestly, it was for a while. But the product technology we used to rely on in the 90s and early 2000s created a particular silhouette. Wide at the top, stiff through the sides, helmet-like through the back. That silhouette has a timestamp on it, and it's not a recent one. The fix is a soft lift, not a tall one. What you're asking your stylist for is root lift through a diffuser or a round brush blow-dry. Not backcombing, not teasing, not setting spray. The lift you want comes from underneath the hair, not from layering product on top of it. Ask specifically for a diffused root lift with a medium hold mousse. That phrase alone will change the direction of the conversation in the salon chair. When the volume is soft and sits close to the head rather than suspended above it, something happens to your face that a stiff crown can't achieve. Your features come forward. Your cheekbones red more prominently. The line of your jaw softens rather than competes with the architecture above it. People stop noticing your hair and start noticing you, which is exactly the point. Here's what that snapback looks like in real life. A woman I know kept her teased crown for 15 years because it was part of her routine. She switched to a diffused lift in one appointment. Her daughter called her that evening and said she looked like she'd had work done. She hadn't touched her face, just her root volume technique. The swap. Replace the over-teased, sprayed crown with a diffused soft lift, medium hold mousse at the roots, no backcombing, no setting spray. One technique, one appointment, entirely different read. And if you think stiff volume is the only thing silently adding years, wait until you hear what the next one is doing to your face shape. It's a style almost everyone in our generation wore at some point, and most of us never stopped. Part 2. The blunt chin length bob with no layers. A blunt cut bob at the chin sounds like it should be chic. Clean lines, strong shape, deliberate. And it can be, on the right face, at the right moment in life. But there's a specific version of this cut that aged out somewhere around 60, and women keep walking back into salons asking for it without realizing what it does to their face over time. The problem isn't the bob. It's the blunt line sitting at the jaw. As we age, the jaw softens. The line between the neck and chin becomes less defined. A hard horizontal cut at that exact point, with no layers, no movement, no graduation, draws the eye directly to the area that's changed the most. It frames it. It puts a border around it. And it does it every single day, whether you notice or not. There's also a weight issue. A blunt bob at the chin carries all its density at the bottom. That bottom-weighted density visually drags the face downward, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. At 25, a blunt bob reads sharp and modern. At 65, that same weight placement reads heavy. The fix is what stylists call a graduated bob with soft disconnected layers through the ends. Don't ask for some layers. That phrase is too vague and you'll end up with 4 choppy pieces on each side that do nothing. Ask for graduation through the back, so the weight lifts naturally, and soft point cut layers through the front that give the ends movement without looking shaggy. That specific combination takes the weight off the jaw and redirects the eye upward, toward your cheekbones, toward your eyes. When that weight redistributes, when the ends have a little movement instead of a hard flat line, the jaw doesn't disappear. It's just no longer the loudest thing in the frame. The eye goes to the eyes instead. That single redirect is what people are actually responding to when they tell someone, "You look amazing. Did you do something different?" Length matters too. For most women over 60, a blunt bob that ends exactly at the jaw or just below the chin is the most age-accelerating length possible. A half-inch shorter, sitting just above the jaw, or conversely a few inches longer, so the length falls below the chin and breaks that horizontal line. Both options work better than the classic at-the-jaw landing point. Your stylist can help you find which side of that line works for your specific jaw shape. The swap. Replace the blunt at-the-jaw bob with a graduated bob featuring point-cut disconnected layers through the ends, landing either just above the jaw or falling below the chin entirely. The next style on this list is one that women often choose because they think it looks polished. It does, just not in the way they're hoping for. It's the style most likely to make you look formal in situations where you want to look current. And nobody's quite said that to your face yet. Part 3. The tightly permed short curl. Tight perms got a quiet second look in certain styling circles recently, and for about 10 minutes it seemed like they might be making a comeback. They didn't. What did come back was loose texture, wave, and lived-in curl, which is a completely different thing. The tight, uniform, close to the scalp perm that has been a staple of the over 60 salon conversation for 40 years, is doing something very specific to the face, and it's not flattering. Here's the thing about tight, uniform curls that sit close to the head. They shrink the perceived size of your hair. When hair collapses into uniform small coils from root to tip, the silhouette reads small and compact. A smaller hair silhouette makes the face appear larger by comparison, wider, rounder, heavier. The exact opposite of what most women over 60 are going for. The other issue is uniformity. When every curl in your hair is the same size, the same tightness, and the same shape, the hair reads processed rather than textured. And processed, overdone hair reads as effort, a very specific, dated kind of effort that places the style firmly in a different era. The fix is not to avoid curl. Curl is wonderful, versatile, and can be genuinely modern on women over 60. The fix is to replace tight uniform coils with what's called a loose body wave with varied texture. You're asking for larger wave patterns. Think a wave that moves rather than a curl that sets. Rods that are larger in diameter, diffuse dry rather than set under a hooded dryer, finger raked after drying so the texture breaks apart slightly rather than sitting in uniform rows. When the curl is loose and the texture has variation, the hair reads natural rather than set. It reads like she was born with that wave, not like she sat under a dryer for an hour. And that natural read is exactly what updates the whole picture. People stop thinking about her hair and start thinking about her. The snapback here is significant. Loose wave adds visual volume without adding heaviness. It creates movement, which draws the eye to the face rather than the hairstyle. Women who make this switch consistently hear that they look younger. Not because younger people have loose waves, but because the hair stops announcing itself as a style and starts functioning as a frame. The swap. Replace tight uniform perm coils with a loose body wave using larger rod diameter, diffuse drying, and finger rake texture that breaks the uniformity. Part 4 is the one that's going to surprise you, because it's a style most women choose thinking it's elegant. And it is, in a specific context. But in everyday life, worn the way most of us wear it, it's communicating something entirely different than intended. Part 4. The rigid updo worn as an everyday style. There's a version of elegance that reads as polished and a version that reads as formal, and the difference between them is entirely in the execution. A rigid, tightly pinned updo. Chignon pulled flat against the back of the head, no movement, no softness, every hair secured, was once the universal signal for put together. What it signals now, worn casually on an average Tuesday, is effort in the wrong direction. Here's the specific problem. A tight updo pulls every piece of hair away from the face. Every piece. That means the temples, the hairline, the area around the eyes, all exposed, all drawn back, all under tension. The pulling sensation you actually feel when you wear one? The camera sees it too. The face reads taut rather than lifted. And taut doesn't translate as youthful. It translates as strained. The other issue is that a rigid updo without any face framing pieces removes all softness from the face's periphery. Our faces need a little something at the sides, even 2 or 3 loose pieces, to create the visual softness that reads as warmth and approachability. Without it, the face looks more angular, the bone structure more prominent in the wrong ways, and the overall impression more severe than intended. The fix is what's called a soft updo with intentional face framing pieces. You're not choosing between up and down. You're choosing between rigid and soft. A soft updo can be a low chignon, a loose French twist, a gathered knot at the nape. Any version of up that has been deliberately undone slightly, 2 or 3 pieces pulled loose at the temples. The back not pulled flat but twisted or gathered with a little ease. Light hold rather than maximum grip. What those loose face framing pieces do is remarkable for how simple the adjustment is. They soften the temple line. They create a transition between the pulled back hair and the face rather than a hard boundary. They read as natural, effortless, and genuinely current, which is exactly the register most women over 60 are aiming for when they reach for an updo in the first place. A client of mine, a retired university professor, had worn a tightly pinned chignon every day for 20 years. She considered it her signature. When she finally tried a soft low chignon with 2 pieces at the temples, she stood in front of the mirror for a long time. Then she said, "I look like myself. Not younger, not different. Like herself, which is the best thing a hairstyle can do." The swap replaced the rigid, flat, fully pinned updo with a soft updo that includes intentional face framing pieces at the temples and a gathered nape knot with visible ease rather than maximum tension. The last one on this list is the style mistake I see most often, and the one that gets the least pushback because it disguises itself as practicality. It's worth saving for last because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Part 5. The flat, single-length long hair with no texture. There's a persistent belief in our generation that long hair on women over 60 is always a graceful choice. And it can be, but only when it has movement, texture, and shape. What most women actually end up with is something different. Flat, single-length hair hanging straight past the shoulders. No layering, no face framing, no graduation. The hair may be long. It is not by any measure doing its job. Here's what's happening structurally. As we age, hair naturally loses density at the midshaft and at the ends. Single-length long hair with no layering carries that loss all the way down. By the time the hair reaches the shoulder and below, it's thin at the ends, sometimes visibly stringy, and thin. Flat ends hanging beside the face pull the eye downward. That downward pull ages the face the way very few style choices can. The second problem is the weight and the face obscuring. Flat, unstructured long hair tends to fall forward, next to the cheeks, across the jawline, sometimes partially blocking the face from the sides. Hair that hides the face reads as someone trying to hide. Even if that's not the intention, the visual impression lands that way. The fix is called long hair with soft underdirection and lived in layers. You're keeping the length. That part stays. What changes is the shape underneath and through the mid-lengths. Underdirection means your stylist cuts the underneath section slightly shorter than the top, which creates a natural lift away from the face rather than a curtain falling forward. Lived-in layers through the mid-length add movement without removing bulk. And face framing pieces, 2 or 3 longer sections that angle toward the cheekbones, redirect the eye upward to where it belongs. When underdirected layers are cut correctly, the hair lifts naturally at the crown and mid-length rather than pulling flat. The ends feel lighter. The face has air around it instead of a curtain. And because the face framing pieces angle toward the cheekbones, the whole composition directs the eye upward. Cheekbones, eyes, brow, rather than downward toward the chin and neck. The snapback for this one is immediate and visible. Women who make this switch often say the same thing in 2 different ways. My hair finally has life again, and everyone thinks I got a blowout even when I didn't. Both of those things are true, and they're both consequences of the same technical change. Lift through underdirection, movement through lived-in layers, Direction through face framing pieces. The swap. Replace flat, single-length long hair with a long cut featuring soft underdirection, lived-in mid-length layers, and deliberate face framing pieces that angle toward the cheekbones. That's the last one. And if you're seeing yourself in more than 2 of these, don't panic. Every single one of them has a fix that doesn't require cutting everything off or starting from scratch. You just need the right conversation with your stylist. You now know exactly what 5 hairstyles are adding years to your face, and you have the specific stylist language to replace every single one of them. That's not a vague suggestion. That's something you can walk into your next appointment with and change on the spot. Which one hit closest to home for you? Tell me in the comments. Was it the stiff crown, the blunt bob, the tight perm, the rigid updo, or the flat long hair? I read every single one. Next week I'm covering the 5 haircut mistakes women make specifically when going shorter after 60, including the one that stylists rarely warn you about before they make it. You don't want to miss it. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.